Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Women Need to Do Better. I'm your host, Shelly, but I am starting a 6-week series. So I'm going to coin myself Shelly, the stress stopper. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for listening. Pull up a chair, sit on a couch, get your cup of coffee, and just relax because we're going to have a kind of conversation that you probably don't get enough of, but really need the honest kind, the friend that will tell you when something's in your teeth. So, what I'm doing for the next 6 weeks is kicking off something that I've been thinking about doing for quite some time. It's going to be a 6-week episode series all about stress. And I'm talking about all the different angles of stress and how they show up in our lives. We're not going to be talking about, okay, you're stressed out. Let's do some breathing exercises, drink more water, or less caffeine. I'm talking about the real kind. And the kind of stress that I'm talking about is the one that hits your chest at 10 o'clock at night on a Tuesday when you're still trying to get ahead of tomorrow. So, this first episode, what I want to dig into is the two types of stress. We all have them: external stress and internal stress. And I'm going to cover the difference between those two and why knowing the difference is going to help you really be able to shift that and lighten your load. So, let's get going, okay? First thing I want to do is ask you a question, okay? This question, nobody needs to hear your answer but you need to answer it really honestly. Think about this last week. How many times this last week have you been running on empty, totally exhausted, but you keep pushing through all of it anyways? I know I've done it. And usually it's because, I don't know, I can't even count the number of times something comes at me from nowhere. It's a phone call, and I'm already trying to manage all the tasks I've got on my list, but the name you see, and you're like, I got to call that. I got to answer that. Or a demand from somebody that you care about, and it just their request of you on top of what you're already dealing with just lights up your whole nervous system. And then this is the part that I really want you to be honest and sit with, okay? How many times did a scenario similar to that happen to you? And when it happened, you turned it around to mean something about you, whether it's how you feel about yourself, whether you feel capable, anything. Someone else's request made you feel a certain way. That's what we're talking about today, that kind of stress. And so this is the cycle I'm going to help you break, because there's two types of stress. That's the one that's coming from outside of you, that comes at you, what I just described, when someone's asking you to do something, a phone call comes, something outside of your control comes at you, and it turns into that internal stress. And that's that sneaky part. That's the expensive stress because it builds how you feel about yourself inside. And until you can learn to recognize which one is which, is it external stress, something outside your control, or is it the internal stress, what you're feeling inside? You're going to keep carrying on, keeping a hold of both of them. So that's what I want to talk to you about in this episode. You see, the external stress is anything that comes outside your control. You can't control people asking you for their help. You can't control phone calls coming in, emails, text, whatever. The things that you did not ask for, they are happening to you. So I want to give you some examples of this because I really want you to hear yourself in this list. Okay. Maybe one scenario. It's 4:55 p.m., right? 5 minutes before you're off of work, and an email comes in from your boss, says like, quick question, or can I see you, or something like that. And already inside your body starts tensing up because you already know that this is going to take hours. It's never a quick question from that person. Or maybe another scenario. It's the family dinner where you did not choose fast enough, right? The family dinner where somehow whatever unfolded at this dinner becomes all your fault. Maybe it's an argument that started about who left the fridge open. It wasn't closed all the way. And then it erupted into this screaming match. And if you think about scenarios like that, because I have totally been in those conversations where it was a simple question, and suddenly that question turned into a shouting match. And it's because my cup was already full. And the question was just that one thing that made it spill over. Or maybe you can relate to this scenario where you've got your toddler and you're at the mall, and it's, of course, that moment when like there's no noise, everything is completely quiet, right? And that's the moment that your toddler chooses to have the most ridiculous, loud temper tantrum. And you're just like, oh my gosh. And of course, you feel all the eyes staring at you because your toddler decided to completely lose it at the most inopportune time. Those are all external stressors, very real, very heavy, right? Very stressful, but they are not your fault. You can't control someone being upset about the family dinner. That's their feelings. You can't control your boss sending you a message right before you're about to get off of work. You can't control someone going to be yelling at you because you're asking about who left the fridge open. And you definitely can't control your kids and when they're going to say the wrong thing in front of somebody or throw a fit in, the middle of the mall, or even worse, like at church. But here's what happens. Something from the outside hits you, and then within milliseconds, inside your brain, it's already picking up on all these things going on, and now you're spinning it on figuring out how to fix it. And that's when the stress starts hitting you hard. And that's what splits it up into turning the external stress into the internal stress. And when I was deciding to do this series, I was really thinking about how much do I really want to share? And in order to really fully get you to understand that I get you, I totally understand you, I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I really want you to understand that I see you. And I know that this is on YouTube. It's a platform where anybody can listen. But I feel like it needs to be, I feel like my audience needs to hear this. So I'm going to talk about the ugly side, a part of me that I hid for a very long time. And I did this just because I was always taught you don't want to air your dirty laundry. You know, you have to keep certain things private. But I realized that when we do that, we all suffer in silence. And I realized also that we all hide parts of us. And as much as I don't want to admit it, I do this because I feel like I'm seen as a strong woman who has it all together. And I've earned that reputation as the person that gets things done. And while I do have it all together on paper and in public, uh, when I was working corporate, I was dependable. And I felt like if people knew some of the things that go on in my head, some of the things that I have to push through, maybe they would lose some respect for me. There was a lot of conversations I've had inside my head that were very different than the way that people viewed me, and I was ashamed of that. I shouldn't feel like that, but I do because I have this amazing life. I have a wonderful family. I have everything that I could ever want for. So there's a part of me that I don't share because I'm afraid of how people will see me. But more than that, the biggest part why I don't share that is because I'm afraid of how people see my partner. Everybody has their own growth path. And for whatever reason, I still feel obligated to protect him and defend him and excuse some of the behaviors and take on the responsibility of that for him. Now, if you don't have a partner that you've had to do that for, this might not be for you. But there's so many women that I have worked with that they have a good relationship. And sometimes saying these ugly parts of our relationship to somebody else makes it feel like there's a spotlight on the mess. And that's not where I'm going with this. What I want you to realize is that you can have these kind of issues and still be strong and still be loving and still protect them. But it's my way to show you that not everything needs to be done by you. We swoop in to take on these extra obligations, which stress us out because we love our partners and because we don't want them to be viewed by other people that we care about. We want the people that we love to be respected by other people that we love. And so here's what I mean. I'll paint you the picture so you can see whether or not this relates to you, if you can connect with that or not. All right, so here's a story about one of the days, one of the many, that I just had a really long and hard day. And all I could think about on the way home was getting home, soaking in the tub with a glass of wine, some candles, the lights off, Nora Jones playing on my Echo. Just all I really needed 10 minutes, 10 minutes in the tub to unwind and relax and just kind of unplug from my life. And then I can get back to my taking care of the kids, taking care of hubby, fixing dinner, doing all the dishes, cleaning up the kitchen, all the things that I normally do that I squeeze into my evening after working over 10 hours a day, plus traffic. But it doesn't happen that way, and it rarely does. So the reality of what happened was I got home, barely got my shoes off. As I start to head to the bathroom, then I hear, Mom! And then just like that, kids are fighting over who gets to watch what on TV. My husband's already disappeared into his room to relax after his hard and long day of work. And mind you, we carpool. We are both gone the same amount of hours, but he drops me off. So, yes, he's in the car longer, but that means I get to work longer because I would go in early, I would stay late, and he would hang out after work until he had to come to pick me up. And he used to complain about how tired he is having to wait around watching TV until he had to come to pick me up. And see, when I say that, it makes it sound like I'm complaining about him and it makes him not look like a good husband, even though he is. And that's why I have a hard time saying things like that. But it's not about that. It's not about comparing notes. It's not about who had the harder day or who works longer. We both work hard. That is not the issue. My issue was he gets the time to unwind. He gets his downtime. He gets to refill his cup. He gets to refuel. And here I am running on fumes with an empty tank, but I'm still expected to take care of everybody. And so then in my mind, these thoughts that stress me out and don't help is, when is it my time? When do I get to sit down and relax? And I don't want to start an argument. I just want someone to see me. I want my partner to see me and recognize that, man, she does all these things. And yeah, maybe I don't have a manual labor job, and he does. And he thinks that I don't understand how tired he can be because he's on his feet all day. And for some reason, because I had a desk job, I'm not supposed to be as tired as he was, or I get more time to relax, or I'm not sure. I don't know what goes on in his head, but it doesn't feel fair when he gets his time to relax and decompress, when he's tired, when he's spent, when he is exhausted, when he's all out of steam. Why can't I tap out? Why don't I have someone to tag to go in for me? And then the frustrating part was if I try to tell him about my bad day, it turns into that pissing contest. Whose day was worse? No, no, no. I'm not trying to compete. We can actually both have hard days. That is possible. But when we both have a hard day, all the responsibilities default to me. And that's when it becomes that normal expectation with everything landing on my shoulders. And then I wonder, how did I get here? Again, that internal conversation. What did I do? Why am I here? Why does it not stop? How can I get him to understand? And how can he not see that he's getting breaks and I don't? And no, when I'm sleeping, that does not constitute as a break. And if I dare share more humiliation, I go to bed later because I'm still trying to catch up on the house after working all day. And then I'm like, okay, I am exhausted. I'm tired. That's all I can manage to do tonight. I'll just get up earlier tomorrow so that I can get ahead of my day, right? And I get up earlier. And then I feel like I'm a hamster stuck on the wheel, just spinning, trying to get all the things done that I have on my to-do list. But my to-do list grows faster than I can check things off. And when I'm running on fumes, guess what? I'm stressed out more often and it takes me longer to do things and I snap faster. I don't know about you, but when I'm stressed out, I do not have the same patience I do as when I've had my time to refill my cup. And again, remember, sleeping is not a break. It's just temporary unconsciousness. And maybe as you're listening to this, parts of you are nodding because you know what I mean. And I'm not saying that your story has to look exactly like mine, but you know what it feels like to carry so much for so long that we are just on autopilot and we're doing this so often that our nervous system just stops knowing the difference between what's an emergency and what's just everyday life. And really, that's the part that nobody else seems to see because they see us as the capable one, the reliable one, the just mom does it all. Mom handles it. It's okay. She's got it. I don't know how she does, but she just does it. Keeps the plate spinning and remembers the school form that needs to get signed and when it's due, the grocery list, what we're out of, what we need to do, meal plan for the week, the birthday gifts for things that are coming up, every single appointment, and the emotional temperature of everybody in the house because who's managing all that, right? Who needs what and whether everybody else is okay. We see that look on our husband and we know that, oh, okay, it's going to be one of those days. We see that look on our kid and we see that we read their energy and we know it's going to be a good day or bad. But inside, for us, oh, so heavy. It feels very different, like you're just quietly drowning while you're keeping everyone around you moving. And everybody around you just keeps on handing over things for you to do. And that's the hard part. And most of the time, it's really not the stress itself that stresses us out. It's the feeling of what all that responsibility where we never get to come up for air that finally breaks us. It's the accumulation of all those things, the constant wave after wave. I mean, think about when you're at the beach and the waves are just crashing over you over and over again. As soon as you try to get up for air, another one's pounding you back under the water. That's a hard day at work. That's a partner who's stressed out too, and they need their time. That's kids needing you every time that you are on empty, that moment when you're trying to get something focused and done. It's unexpected bills that pop up. It's the family tension. It's a text that comes in from somebody you weren't expecting that just ruins your mood. The argument that shouldn't really matter, but suddenly, like I said, when I'm stressed out, I've got less patience. And when I could normally just take the higher road and not respond, not be catty or petty, ooh, I tell you, when I'm stressed, it takes a lot more to shut my mouth. And it's because my nervous system's already overloaded. So, what does external stress feel like? External stress, the things that come from people, because we can't control people. But it's like trying to tread water when the waves are crashing over your head. And it's not because you're weak or because you're failing. It's because nobody can stay above water forever carrying all that emotional weight of all the things that you're doing, the household, the work. And that's why naming these things matter, recognizing each one. Because if we can't separate the outside stress from the inside stress, then we start thinking that we are the problem. Something's wrong with us. And that, my friend, is where the internal stress enters the picture. So picture the external stress being like you in the ocean. It's the waves that keep coming. You can't stop waves, one after the next, and you're just trying to tread water. You're just trying to stay afloat. And the thing about the waves, they're not coming for you personally. They're not trying to just smack you down. They just come. It just does what it does. Water does what it does. Waves do what they do. It's not the wave's fault. The wave is not a reflection of your worth. And the wave doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. It's just a wave. Just like other people, they are just navigating their own lives. And sometimes it can feel like a personal attack, and sometimes it can feel like, they need to stop. And if you think about when people or external stressors come at you, whether it's a request from whoever, it's only a problem when you're exhausted, when your tank is empty, when you've been treading the water for so long that you're, you're just like in sleep mode. You forgot what the ground feels like under you because you just feel like every wave is just trying to drown you. And so that's when inside your head, you have to recognize, is this something within my control or not? So I want to keep it simple with a question that you can ask yourself when you start feeling that stress piling up on you. What if you could separate the external stress from the internal stress? If the next time a wave hits you, you could look at that wave and say, ah, that's outside of me. That is an external stressor. Them asking me to do something, it's my choice to accept it or not. And it means nothing about me. Them asking me, I'm not going to assign it any meaning about me being inadequate if I say no. Okay. So when your toddler's throwing a tantrum, when your boss is asking time of you at the last minute, if your partner can't see that you are mentally overloaded, you can't reprogram them, but you can stop internalizing those things as an evidence that something's wrong with you. That's what I call your practical brain, because we want to make sense of things. Like, why is my partner asking me? Like, do they not see I'm in the middle of doing this? Or why does my toddler want to throw this fit when I'm already at the end of my rope? And then we start looking for reasons to blame ourselves when these things happen. We are looking for something about our worth because of these external stressors. And that's what we don't need to do. So here's what that looks like in real life. say you've got 45 emails that hit you. Like you just cleaned out your inbox and now all of a sudden you've got a ton more emails and your chest tightens because you're just like, "Ah, I thought I was done with that." And instead of, why does this always happen to me, right? Have you said that to yourself? Why am I always the one? What's wrong with my life? Why me? You just say it out loud. That's an outside stressor. It is not mine to carry. I will handle these emails and I'll just do them one at a time as I have time. Stop putting a story behind it, how this is going to stress you out. You just deal with it one at a time. Or the kids are fighting, right? My kids used to fight all the time. The second I walk through the room and it's like, oh, and it's that tattle. I don't know if you have kids that like they say something really loud to try to get your attention to get the other child in trouble. And then again, my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to deal with this right now. Why? Why do they have to do this? Like they already know that, I'm say I was in the middle of trying to make dinner or something. Again, you just say this is an outside stressor. It's real. And I'm allowed to be tired. They're not doing this because I'm tired. They're just doing it because they're kids. Now, I'm not saying that naming it's going to make it disappear. Okay. Naming it doesn't make the dishes do themselves or the dinner make itself or things on your to-do list disappear. But you're stopping it from becoming an internal story about yourself. That's what this game is about. That is what it's about. Because if you reflect on the last week, maybe there was a time last week where you were just overly stressed. Because we're all stressed out, but something that was just that stands out in your mind. Think about what was it that stressed you out? And why did it stress you out? Was it something that was outside of your control that came at you that you felt responsible for, that you put a story on how this is going to affect you and it stressed you out even more? Here's what you can do. Okay, so before I close up on this episode, I want you to do one thing, just one. Pick one outside stressor, one thing that's hitting you hard from the outside right now. Maybe it's the boss thing, maybe it's the partner thing, maybe the family thing, whatever's the loudest. Like when I say what stresses you out, I'm sure that automatically there's one thing that pops up in your head. And I want you to actually say this out loud because there are studies that show when you say something out loud, not just in your head, it hits different. And I can guarantee you it does because I've done the same thing. And I've had other women that I've worked with do the same thing. I don't know how to explain it. Things in your head, when you say it in your head, they are very different than saying it out loud. So say this out loud. This is outside of my control, and I am choosing not to carry it inside. That's it. That's your assignment. Say it once, say it 10 times, whatever it is. Say it out loud, though. I'll say it again. I want you to say, thinking about whatever it was, right? That outside stressor, say, this is outside my control, and I am choosing not to carry it inside. Because what you're doing every time you say that is you're starting to train your brain to see the difference between what is yours and what is not. And that, my friend, is where your peace lives. So if you enjoyed this episode, please come back next week because next week we're going to go back into episode 21 where we're talking about the helper brain. Okay. And the helper brain is all about those thoughts that float in your head that don't shut off, like you're trying to sleep, but you've got a story that keeps running on loop over and over and over again. So it's going to be a doozy. It's going to be something that many of us can relate to. And make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss it. And speaking of not missing things, if anything in today's episode felt like I was talking directly to you, or you can see yourself in my story, whether you're trying to get that bath for 10 minutes or you feel like you're on that hamster wheel, whatever. I have a free survival mode self-test. It's a short little quiz, takes you about 3 minutes. It's going to tell you exactly where you are at with stress in your life. And this is not like a generic test. This is going to be specifically for you. Again, it's going to be about 3 minutes of your time. It's going to tell you some real details. And the link is going to be in the show notes. So please go take it. And if you want to do this live with me, I'm going to be hosting a free training on Saturday at the end of this month, May 30th at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. And it's called Drowning in Your To-Do List. And in this free training, it's going to be about an hour long. We're going to talk about exactly this, the overwhelm, the list that never ends, and what we can do about these things. So there's going to be a link in the show notes for that too. Okay? All right. So this was episode 20 of my podcast, but episode 1 in this 6 series for stress. And I want to thank you for taking the time to be here and listen to me. And I really, really appreciate your time because I know that we are busy in our lives, and it really means a lot to me that you showed up for this conversation. So I am Shelley with Women Need to Do Better, and let's stop the stress and start living lighter. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Love you, and have a good week.